The weight of 2,000 years of history, of faith, of tradition sits heavy on the walls of the Vatican tonight. Inside those walls, whispers echo through the holy chambers, whispers of mortality, whispers of legacy, whispers of power. Pope Francis, the leader of 1.3 billion souls, is nearing the end of his papacy. The world knows this day would come, of course, but knowing something is inevitable doesn't soften the blow when it arrives. And with the pontiff's health fading, the whispers are getting louder, the speculation more fevered. A short list of cardinals, potential successors to the throne of St. Peter, has emerged. Men who hold the future of the Catholic Church in their hands. Tonight, we're taking you inside the Vatican, delving into the lives of these cardinals, exploring their beliefs, their ambitions, their potential to reshape one of the oldest institutions on earth. We'll examine the challenges facing the next pope, the crises of faith, and the geopolitical storms brewing on the horizon. As Pope Francis approaches his final days, the Vatican is abuzz with speculation about his successor. A shocking short list of cardinals has emerged, each with the potential to lead the Catholic Church into a new era. But who are these cardinals, and what does this mean for the future of the Church? First on our list is Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Archbishop of Milan. Parolin is, in many ways, the embodiment of the traditional wing of the Church. A staunch defender of Catholic doctrine, he has been a vocal critic of what he sees as the secularization of society. Some whisper he longs for a return to a simpler time, a time when the Church's authority was unquestioned. Then there's Cardinal Luis Silva, the charismatic Archbishop of Rio de Janeiro. Silva represents a different vision for the Church, one that embraces the modern world and its challenges. He's known for his work with the poor, his outspoken advocacy for social justice, and his belief that the Church must adapt to survive. Some say he's a modern-day Francis, a man who could usher in a new era of reform. But reform can be a dangerous word within the ancient walls of the Vatican. And Cardinal Tanaka, the Stoic Archbishop of Tokyo, embodies that inherent caution. A scholar and a theologian, Tanaka is a pragmatist, a man who believes in slow, deliberate change. He's seen as a safe choice, a steady hand at a time of uncertainty, but is safe what the Church needs in these tumultuous times. Don't underestimate the ambition of Cardinal Mbogo, the Archbishop of Nairobi. A rising star in the Church, Mbogo is known for his fiery sermons, his unwavering faith, and his ability to connect with younger generations. He's a vocal advocate for the developing world, a man who understands the challenges facing the Church in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. These are just a few of the men who could soon find themselves leading 1 billion souls, each with their own vision, their own strengths, their own weaknesses, each a potential future for an institution grappling with its past and uncertain of its future. Here in the Vatican, the mood is a strange mix of grief and anticipation. Grief for a pope many have come to love, and anticipation for the changes his successor will bring. Behind the solemn pronouncements and the carefully crafted statements, a power struggle is brewing. Factions within the Church are jockeying for influence, each hoping to see their preferred candidate ascend to the papacy. The traditionalists, wary of Pope Francis's reforms, yearn for a return to orthodoxy. The reformers, emboldened by Francis's papacy, see this as a moment to push for even bolder changes. The College of Cardinals, the body responsible for electing the next pope, is a microcosm of this global Church. With its own internal divisions and competing agendas, cardinals from the developing world, where the Church is growing fastest, have different priorities than their counterparts in Europe and North America. The stakes are high. The next pope will inherit a Church facing numerous challenges, from dwindling congregations in the West to the rise of secularism, from the ongoing clergy sex abuse scandal to the growing climate crisis. How he chooses to address these challenges will have profound implications for the Catholic Church and its place in the world. But it's not just the cardinals who are watching and waiting. Across the globe, 1.3 billion Catholics are holding their breath, praying for guidance, hoping for a leader who can shepherd their faith into the future. For them, this isn't just about power or politics. It's about something far more profound. It's about the soul of their Church, the legacy of Francis. To understand the weight of this moment, we need to look back, to understand the legacy Pope Francis leaves behind, Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, he was a man who seemed an unlikely revolutionary. A Jesuit, an order known for its intellectual rigor and commitment to social justice, Bergoglio had spent years ministering to the poor and marginalized in the slums of Buenos Aires. He was a man of the people, known for his humility and his compassion. When he emerged on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica in 2013, the world took notice. He was the first pope from the Americas, the first Jesuit pope, and he signaled from the start that his papacy would be different. He chose the name Francis, after St. Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of the poor and the environment. His papacy has been marked by a focus on the marginalized, a call for greater economic justice, and a willingness to engage with the modern world in all its complexities. He has challenged the Church to be more welcoming, more compassionate, more focused on the needs of the poor and the forgotten. He has also not shied away from controversy. His calls for action on climate change, his more open stance towards LGBTQ+ Catholics, and his willingness to engage in dialogue with other faiths have angered some within the Church, while endearing him to others. His papacy has been a breath of fresh air for many, a sign that the Church is capable of change, of adapting to the modern world without abandoning its core values. But it has also been a time of tension, a reminder that the Church is a vast and complex institution, often resistant to change. A world watching. The eyes of the world are on Rome tonight. From the favelas of Rio de Janeiro to the villages of sub-Saharan Africa, from the bustling cities of North America to the ancient churches of Europe, the faithful are watching, waiting, praying. In the Philippines, a country with the world's third largest Catholic population, families gather around flickering candles, their rosaries worn smooth with years of devotion. They remember Pope Francis's visit to their country, his message of hope after a devastating typhoon. They wonder if his successor will show the same compassion for the struggles of those far from Rome. In the United States, the Catholic Church is a house divided. Liberal Catholics, energized by Pope Francis's focus on social justice, pray for a leader who will continue his reforms. Conservative Catholics, wary of those same reforms, hope for a return to traditional values. World leaders, too, are watching closely. The Vatican is not just a religious institution, it's a global power player. The next pope will inherit a legacy of diplomacy, from mediating conflicts to advocating for peace. His words and actions will have real-world consequences. The world waits, holding its breath, for the white smoke to rise from the Sistine Chapel, signaling that a new pope has been chosen. And when that white smoke does rise, it will mark the beginning of a new chapter, not just for the Catholic Church, but for the world. The next chapter. The challenges facing the next pope are immense. He will inherit a church grappling with internal divisions and external pressures. The sex abuse scandal continues to cast a long shadow, demanding accountability and transparency. The Church in the West is facing declining attendance, particularly among young people who are increasingly drawn to secularism or other faiths. The next pope will need to find a way to make the Church relevant to a new generation, to speak to their hopes and fears in a language they understand. But the challenges are not just internal. The world is facing a confluence of crises, from climate change to global inequality, from political polarization to the rise of authoritarianism. The next pope will need to be a moral voice on the world stage, a champion for the poor and the marginalized, a defender of human dignity and the common good. Will the next pope continue the reforms begun by Francis, or will he chart a more conservative course? Will he be a unifier, a bridge builder within the Church and across faiths, or will his papacy be marked by division and retrenchment? The answers to these questions will shape the future of the Catholic Church for years to come. They will determine whether the Church can remain a force for good in the world, a beacon of hope in a time of uncertainty. A church at a crossroads. The weight of history, of expectation, rests heavy on the shoulders of the men who would be pope. The decisions they make, the words they speak, will reverberate through the lives of over 1 billion people. They will shape the future of an institution that has been a cornerstone of Western civilization for 2 millennia. As the world watches and waits, one question remains. Who will lead the Catholic Church into its next chapter? Will it be a chapter of renewal and reform, a rededication to the gospel message of love and compassion? Or will it be a chapter of retrenchment and division, a retreat from the challenges of the modern world? The answer to that question lies not just within the walls of the Vatican, but in the hearts of Catholics around the world. It lies in their faith, their hope, and their willingness to help the Church evolve to meet the challenges of a new era. Please subscribe to our channel History Documentary Hub for more insightful videos and intriguing content.